Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of the Fields and Forests podcast. I am your host, Erin Keith, and I am excited to bring you this conversation with Mr. Owen Thomason. He is a Diversified Agriculture Program Chair at Emmanuel University. He brings over 36 years of experience in agriculture education to this conversation, and I think you will really enjoy hearing his perspective about agriculture and education. We talk about his past experience, some of his thoughts on current agriculture practices, and valuable information about the agriculture program at Emmanuel University. So sit back and enjoy this conversation with Mr. Owen Thomason. So Mr. Thompson, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background in agriculture?
Yes, I am a product of agriculture. My family grew up on my grandfather's farm, and I'm part of his farm, and my father did not actively farm, but my uncle did. And so I worked for him as a young boy up until I graduated from high school, and so I had the opportunity to work in the poultry industry and also with cattle. And so I started out in agriculture, found that through my high school FFA experience that I was interested in going further in agriculture. And so I went to ABAC for 1 year, and then I went on to the University of Georgia for 4, and I majored in agriculture education. So that's how I got my start in the field of agriculture. I had an interest in farming, but I felt like I wanted to go on to college and get a degree first and then make a decision from there. But from there, I started my teaching career in Soperton, Georgia, which is Truitland County, down in South Georgia, and I taught there for 2 years, and then the opportunity to come to Franklin County came about, and so I took that opportunity and came on to Franklin County and spent 29 years teaching high school ag and being a young farmer instructor at Franklin County High School. And so that's kind of where I got my experience of agriculture. And then the opportunity came to start an agriculture program at Emmanuel College. And so I said that yes, I was interested in this, and now I'm starting my 8th year at Emmanuel College.
Okay. So you said that you grew up working in poultry and cattle farming. Which one did you like better?
Well, at the time, I enjoyed the poultry business. Of course, everybody likes working with cows because most days they're fun. But I grew up picking up eggs, and I went to ABAC with the plan to major in poultry science. And when I got to ABAC, I started talking to my advisor, and he brought out a piece of paper that described the courses that you would need to take to major in poultry science. And I saw that there was some classes on there that I wasn't excited about taking. One of them was chemistry and organic chemistry and some other things. And so I told him, I said, I think I want to look at something to do with ag education. And I said, my ag teacher always looked like he had a good time, and he just rode around the county in the truck, so that's what I want to do. And so he pulled out the sheet for agriculture education, and I said, you know what, I think that's what I'll try. But like most kids your age and my age at the time, the thought of getting in front of people and speaking was my biggest fear. And it has gotten a lot better in the 38 years that I've been in agriculture. But, you still have that little feeling whenever you get in front of a group, especially those that you don't know. But I've truly enjoyed being in agriculture and agriculture education.
Yeah, I feel like advisors really have to love their job. There's so much that goes in with it.
Yes, it is. You kind of look at some occupations out there, and really agriculture education is a way of life. When I married my wife, I told her, I said, understand that you're marrying an agriculture teacher, and it is very hour intensive, and there's a lot of times that you're going to be away from home. And she was good with that. It also gave me an opportunity to be with my children as they got older. All 3 of my children went through FFA. They participated in FFA and showed livestock. So we were able to travel together and do a lot of fun things together. I did miss some of those early years, which is kind of, I regret that because I was gone a lot of times when they were little. But as they got older, they were able to join me, and it was a lot of fun being with them. But it's been a great journey.
Yeah. My advisor at the middle school, she's married to one of the high school advisors, so they both share their.
Yes, they get to travel together a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And that's been a lot of fun watching them raise a family and also travel together. I've traveled with them many miles.
Oh, I love my advisor. She's amazing. So what does a day in your life look like at Emmanuel?
Okay. So at Emmanuel University, we have made some changes over the last couple of years, and especially this year. We've gone to a 4-day class week. So it's nice having Fridays as a planning student, a day you can meet with students. But on Monday through Thursday, my day is usually filled with either preparing for classes or teaching classes or handling some of the administrative duties that comes along with running our department. We have a 40-acre farm there at Emmanuel, so I'm in charge of the farm, which has livestock, cattle, and chickens, and greenhouses. And so there's a lot of things that has to be checked on every day as far as that. And then also setting up labs for future courses. And then as department chair, I'm also in charge of checking on my adjuncts, other professors in our department, and also looking for people that can teach classes for us at Emmanuel.
Okay. So you're talking about setting up the labs for the future classes. What are some different labs that y'all do in your agriculture program?
Okay. Today was a good example. We went to a farm down in Madison County, and we traveled down there in the van, and I took my crop science class, and we looked at multi-cropping systems where the gentleman we went to visit had various forages out there that he would provide for his cattle, along with a rotational grazing system. So in our crop science class, we understand forage is an important crop, especially in Georgia. And so we were looking at some of the methods that people use to grow their forages and also some supplemental forages that they use. So we were looking at this particular farmer had sun hemp, had buckwheat, sorghum, Sudan. He had a mixture of summer annuals out there, and we were looking at those and then talking about what he would do with summer in the wintertime also. So that's an example of one lab. Last week, we went to a farm that grew organic wheat and corn, and they ground their own flour and cornmeal and grits. So we watched the milling process, and also got to sample some grits. Ooh. And so Mr. Randall's class today is a livestock evaluation course, and so they're out looking at livestock at a farm. We made biodiesel in a class a couple of weeks ago. So our classes are filled with experiences, which is what I find as a former high school agriculture teacher to be the best way for students to learn. So we give our students at Emmanuel as many experiences as we can, but preparing for those labs does take a little bit of advance time. And so that's one of my duties, is looking for those unique and experiences that we can provide our students that will give them either visual or hands-on experiences that they can carry with them into the future.
I like that. Me personally, I like to be more hands-on and stuff. I love my science class because we do so many labs in it. Mm-hmm. Even though some of the paperwork's not as fun. Lots
of students, it's an easy way for students to connect the material. Mm-hmm. We talked about multi-cropping systems in class, but, for them to look at it at a book or for a teacher to lecture about it doesn't give them that same visual as it does to go to that farm and see that.
And agriculture is such a hand-on thing that
you can learn from seeing, smelling, touching agriculture. And it's, I can't imagine we did during COVID, we had to teach online, of course, and I just can't imagine teaching like that all the time, especially something like agriculture. It's so hands-on and it's so visual for the student to have to, be able to see that and be able to understand the process. And of course, if you're teaching students how to do skills until they get to try those skills, they will not have that background in the future.
Yeah, I've already set it clear that when I go to college, I am not going to do some online classes or anything. I'd rather be in the room with the teacher, listening to him.
It has some value for some courses. You can do online courses. We have a couple of agriculture courses that are online, but they have external activities that give the students those opportunities to get out. I have an insect disease class, but they have to do an insect collection and they have to do some disease diagnosis. And so they're not sitting in front of the computer the whole time. They're out collecting. They have to collect 40 insects, and they have to go out and identify 4 diseases. So it's more than just sitting in front of the computer, but it's still considered to be an online course. So there's some ways that you can make it interesting and exciting. That was something we learned from COVID. We had to learn how to make it more hands-on the best we could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds really fun. So what's your favorite part about your job?
I think connecting with students. I enjoyed working with students my 31 years in public school, and I think connecting with students and finding out a little bit about them and then learning more about what they want out of their courses. Being a teacher, sometimes you can just kind of go about your job each day and provide things for your students. But if you don't connect with your students one-on-one, it's really hard to know what they're looking for. And so the first week of school, we spend a lot of time trying to connect and find out where students are from, find out a little bit about what their background is. And then I try to apply things that they tell me as we go through the semester into the lessons, try to incorporate that into the lessons. A good example, I have a student from Canada. He's from Alberta, Canada, and so I'm teaching. He's in my crop science course, and so as I'm teaching crop science to 4 students that are from the United States, I'm also teaching him things about Canadian agriculture. And of course, for me, that creates a lot of time that I have to sit down and learn about Canadian agriculture. But it's been good for me because I've learned a lot, and then he, in turn, shares with the class because we're giving the rest of the class some examples from where he lives at, and then he can answer questions from them, and then we can also provide him with some experiences from the United States. So when you find out a little bit about your students, that's what makes it fun, is to learn about them. I had a student 2 years ago from Hawaii, and he was in a fruit and vegetable course, and so, of course, he wanted to learn how to grow fruits and vegetables in Hawaii. Well, being a North Georgia boy, that was beyond me. But I learned, I sat down and I learned about Hawaiian agriculture and about fruits and vegetables in Hawaii, and tried to make it an enjoyable experience for him. And so that's what's fun to me, is connecting with students, finding out a little bit about them. We have students from all over the world at Emmanuel. Mm-hmm. We had a student this past year from Brazil. We were asking him about his farm, and he told us how many hectares it was. And so we pulled it up on Google Earth and we started looking at it. And then we converted over, and his grandfather owned 22,000 acres. And he was helping his grandfather farm. And for me to be able to connect with him and learn about Brazilian agriculture was just a fantastic experience. Of course, we found out they were growing soybeans and rice, and he didn't want to learn about that. He wanted to learn about raising cattle because he wanted to be a rodeo cowboy.
Oh.
So it was a lot of fun. We give him we aggravate him a lot. We give him a lot of trouble about that, but it was fun doing that. So connecting with students is what's really important to me.
Yeah. And like FFA, so in a couple weeks, we have our national convention for FFA up in Indianapolis. And that's what I'm very excited about is, because I'm competing in agri-science and there are 10 competitors in my division, and I could see all of like where they were and where they're from. And there's some people coming from Hawaii. There's people coming from Texas. So I'm going to be able to talk to a lot of people from around the world, and I'm very excited about it.
I think that's kind of where I got my interest in talking to people from other parts of the world, traveling with FFA and going to the national convention and finding those kids with, a state on the back of their jacket that you want to know a little bit more about, and you get the opportunity to go up to them and tell me about Alaska or tell me about Hawaii or tell me about New Mexico because you see it at the national convention. And so I think that's partially where I got my interest in people and where they're from and just learning about them because it's, just getting to know people and then making those connections really can pay off down the road. Even my friend from Hawaii, he's told me several times, come visit me. I want to show you around Hawaii. So, and my Canadian friend who's in class now, he's telling me the same thing. So, it's in life when you can make connections like that. Yeah. That's a lifelong connection that, you never can tell. It may pay off in the future.
Yeah. Just even at like our state conventions or our cult conferences, just in the Georgia area, I've made like multiple friends from around the state, which I enjoy talking to them. I talked to one last night, actually.
That was, when my first job in Soperton really came about because of an FFA connection. I met a gentleman at the region rally when I was in the 10th grade. And I opened the door for him, and he thanked me, and he asked me where I was from, and I told him I was from Stevens County because I'm originally from Stevens County, and he asked me my name, and so later on, he was very friendly, and we talked, and so later on, when I got ready to graduate from University of Georgia and I was looking for jobs, I called a gentleman in South Georgia. He was the regional director for FFA. And I said, my name is Owen Thomason. And I'm looking for a job. Is there any job openings in your region for agriculture education? And he said, I've been waiting on you to call me. He said, I've been following you since you've been at the university. I remembered when I met you in the 10th grade. So those connections that you make in life, you just don't ever know where they're going to end up.
Yeah.
And I ended up, he helped me get a job. And I had met him one other time in my life as a 10th grader in FFA. So those connections that you make today may pay off in the future with others.
Oh, yeah.
Pay big dividends. It did for me. So.
Yeah, it's crazy what FFA will lead you into sometimes. So what is the purpose of the agriculture program at Emmanuel University?
Okay. We're real excited to offer 2-degree programs at Emmanuel. We started out with a Diversified Agriculture degree, which was what we decided was a good starting point for Emmanuel Agriculture. This program offers a lot of avenues for students to get a job in agriculture because with the Diversified Agriculture program, there's 4 concentrations. There's business, communications, science, and missions. And so we felt like this degree would be a catch-all, but it would also give students some specific opportunities to get training in the areas they were most comfortable with or maybe they wanted to get a job in. So our ag business concentration students, they're looking at managing farms, working for financial institutions, managing stores, doing things such as that. Our science concentrations are looking at working in the plant or animal industry, maybe working for Department of Agriculture as inspectors, or maybe even being a representative for some type of feed company or something like that. Then our communication concentration students, they're the ones that are going to be using social media. They're going to be doing TV, radio, news, be telling the story of agriculture. And then our missions concentration, which is very unique. There's only 4 colleges that we have found in the United States that offers agriculture missions. But this gives students a chance to learn a skill and then go out into the mission field and connect with people. And, especially if you're teaching someone how to raise their own food, you're going to make a connection with them, and then you can share your faith with them out in the field, whether it's United States or overseas. So that was kind of what led me to Emmanuel, was looking to start an agriculture missions degree, but we decided to do the diversified agriculture because that opens so many other doors for students. And then recently we started the agricultural education degree. My experience is 31 years in agriculture education. I knew that there was not enough students going into agriculture education. There was a lot of job openings out there. And so I told the college, I said, this would be a great opportunity for us to send out some Christian educators to schools. And so us being a Christian college, this gives us a chance to work with some students with a strong Christian faith that maybe wants to go out and teach either elementary, middle school, or high school agriculture. So we have 2 degrees, 2 opportunities for students. And, of course, we have some students that take the agriculture minor. For example, I have a student that is wanting to be a game warden. He took the criminal justice and agriculture minor route. Then I have another kid who's getting a diversified ag degree in concentration in science, and he has a criminal justice minor. So both of those qualify you to go and to be a game warden. So there's opportunities out there for students. I've had some elementary school majors use agriculture as a minor in hopes of being an elementary school ag teacher. So we try to provide some opportunities for all students. And then, of course, give them those experiences that they can carry away from here.
Yeah. Yeah, there's more and more schools open up to the ag classes, especially like a lot of elementary schools. I've heard of a lot of elementary school agriculture classes. Thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think there's over 100 elementary ag teachers in the state of Georgia now. So wow. It's really growing. It's growing really fast. And I know our master's degree in elementary education will be offering that as an add-on as part of their master's degree program next year. So it's really growing. So it would also be a class that people who were wanting to go from high school to elementary could take that and get that certification too.
Very cool. So what do you seek to provide students who attend your program?
Well, we first want to provide them with those experiences that we find that is so valuable for our students today. Just being able to seeing, touching, feeling, smelling agriculture, experimenting in agriculture. All of our students are required to do some type of research in agriculture, just like your Agri-Science Fair project. They're all required to do that. They're all required to do an internship. And I find that to be very important because, again, that's those experiences. As an ag teacher, had I done an internship with a veterinarian, that would have given me a tremendous base of knowledge when I'm teaching animal science to students. So we just really feel like those 2 things, just providing them with that background, that's really important to us. And then, of course, at Emmanuel, we want to build not only your academic strengths, but we also build your Christian faith. And so that's part of our mission at at Emmanuel because we want to make sure that we're graduating students that have a good faith in Christ and good strong Christian background. And then I guess thirdly is we want students to be academically strong. And, sometimes people look at agriculture as maybe not being a subject that should be difficult, but agriculture is a science, and we are at the same level as biology or chemistry or physics, any of those sciences. And, we want to make sure that our students are academically strong because, you may leave here, Emmanuel University, and go on to the University of Georgia and get your master's degree. Or I have a student at NC State right now getting their master's degree, and we want them to be highly qualified. I have a student at Clemson who's finishing up, getting ready to go to vet school. So we want our students to be prepared academically too. So we try to be rigorous with our academics. We want it to be strong. We want our students to be prepared.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't understand, but like a lot of agriculture degrees cause for a lot of physics classes or chemistry classes, or like what you were saying about the poultry science. Mm-hmm. A lot of them require a chemistry or physics or some other type of science, and I don't think they realize how much goes into agriculture.
Yeah, I mean, you look at agriculture. I mean, it's you're using cells, plants, animals. You're using science to produce the food, fiber, and wood products, shelter products that people use every day. And so you have to understand the science before you can actually move forward and produce those goods. So by understanding that and knowing, going all the way down to the cell and the interior of the cell, and then understanding how you can, change the DNA or the RNA, or, how GMOs are developed, and all of these things, embryo transfer, all of this is based back on sciences. So, having a strong science background does help our students become, very academically strong. And, an agriculture degree today is very science-based, and it really qualifies you to do a lot of things, not just in agriculture. I mean, you're qualified to do some pretty high-tech and high-science type jobs now.
Yeah. So I know you've named like a couple of specific areas of study in agriculture that Emmanuel does, but is there any others any other more specific?
Well, we have the 2 degrees, and of course, on the horizon, the opportunity to maybe develop a 3rd degree is in the works. We're looking at some different things, trying to narrow down what is needed in the agriculture field. For us to step out and say we're going to do our next degree in this or that, we have to look at what is the needs in the field and how is it changing. One of the things that we're looking at is the technology with GPS and virtual reality and artificial intelligence and all of those things that are really on the forefront. We need to be prepared, have our students prepared to use that technology. We can kind of sit back and wait, or we can have students that are prepared to use it. And so one of the things that we look at is what is the best route for us to prepare our graduates. And of course, we are looking at an agriculture technology as being a possible route. We're looking at some other things, whether it's an animal science, poultry science, or some other degree, what is most needed in the field. So, we're always looking to change, and, I don't teach the same thing every year. I modify my presentations because, agriculture is changing every second of the day. Mm-hmm. And, what agriculture looked like when I started 38 years ago and the way it looks today is completely different. So we're trying to make sure that we're current and we're updated. So that's a little bit of a challenge for us because, It's changing so quickly that by the time I learn something new, there's another item waiting for me. So, but it's exciting. It's a lot of fun. Keeps me young.
The world's changing like every second of every day. I mean, there's so much, like, technology keeps developing, and we keep depending more on it than what we used to with just hard work. So, yeah, there's a lot of new stuff that just keeps popping up.
It's fun to see it. We recently were studying about using virtual reality, where you would put on the same goggles and headset that you do with your game at home, but you're going to look at your crop. And you can see you'll be able to pick out the insects and the diseases and even nutritional deficiencies using the same type headset that you play your games at home. So those kind of things are out there that are fun. Of course, I think of a lot of students today, especially our younger students, are very skilled at using controllers, playing video games, but they're the people that we need to run the drones. They're the ones that needs to run the autonomous tractors and all of that. So there's so many skills out there that are needed today that people like myself, we're not ready for that, but young people today should be extremely excited about agriculture, because it's definitely going to change, and there's going to be almost going to be like a video game in the future. You run your farm from your office, and you have tractors running 24 hours a day and drones flying, and you're looking through your virtual reality headset, and artificial intelligence is figuring out what your problems are. And so it's exciting to look at the future and the things that, especially for young people today.
Oh, yeah. It just amazes me how much the agriculture industry, like, just as a kid, it's farming, and now it's like there's robots and all this new stuff. So does Emmanuel College offer dual enrollment for high school students interested in the ag career?
Yes, we have a dual enrollment program. In fact, they're at Franklin County High School this year. They started offering classes at Franklin County High School. The agriculture classes can be attended by dual enrollment students. What students have to think about with dual enrollment now is there's a limit to the number of hours that you take. So you definitely want to get some of those core classes out of the way. Many students go to college. They know the first couple of years you're going to be taking math, science, English, and things such as that. But if you can focus on getting some of those out of the way before you graduate high school, then when you enter college, you can go straight into your major. Now, one of the things that we do at Emmanuel is in agriculture, you're going to be in an agriculture class every semester you're at Emmanuel. So all 4 years you'll be taking agriculture. You won't have to wait till your junior year to take it. You'll be taking agriculture every year. So we want you to be prepared. I think of our degree programs like building a house. Your freshman courses are the foundation. Your sophomore classes are the walls. Your junior class is the roof, and your senior class is the interior. So we're trying to build that house, and so we need you all 4 years. But if some students choose to go somewhere else first, that's okay. We'll build their house as quick as they get there. So it's I think of Emmanuel as a good place to start and a great place to finish. So you can kind of. Some students like to come to Emmanuel and get some of the core out of the way, because our classes are small, about 15 students to one, whereas you go to some schools that you'll have a couple of hundred in your class. I had 300 in my chemistry class. So, we try to stay small. But then, once you get those core classes out of the way, your major classes are usually very small.
I'd rather have a smaller class, like just even with the 30 students in our classroom. there's just so much going on that sometimes I can't even ask questions to my teacher that I actually need to know. So I'd rather be in a smaller classroom than 400, 500 students in there with me.
Oh, yes. With a 15-to-1 ratio, it gives you the opportunity to connect with students.
Yeah.
And, we don't all learn at the same pace. We don't all learn with the same visual or auditory. There's different ways that we each learn. And with a small class, you can, as a teacher, you can adjust to where you present the material where everybody can understand it. Whereas with a class of 30, there's 30 different ways you've got to teach it there. That's a challenge for anyone. So I like the opportunity to be in a small class like you. And a lot of our, when you start looking at our 300, 400 level courses, junior, senior level classes, we may only have 5 or 8 or 12 or a class of 1 if it's needed. So it's, going to a small college, there's some big advantages there. A lot more one-on-one attention.
Yeah.
And then, you kind of look at all the experiences that I've told you that we do. If you go to a larger school, it's hard for them to do the kind of things we do. Be able to take 30 kids to see someone mill wheat into flour in a room that's, 10 by 12. It'd be really hard to do. Yeah. But I can take 5 students down there and we can see that. So it's, there's some advantages to both schools, both kinds of schools. And each person that's going, when they get ready to go to college or when they go to a technical college, they need to look at what best suits them, not because their friends are going there. Look at what suits you the best.
Yeah.
What learning style do you have?
Yeah, that's what we went to we went on a college tour for our 8th grade college coming up in a couple years. So we went on a college tour. And all my friends, they were choosing the same thing because they just wanted to be with each other. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to choose something that would affect me and what I want to do in the future. And so I went off and did my own thing. Mm-hmm. I only had 2 friends in there. It's okay.
That's okay. You got to pick your own destiny. Mm-hmm. It can't be because my friend is doing that. You have to pick what's going to work best for you and what is your goals in life. What do I want to do? For me, I was looking at poultry science. University of Georgia would have been a great choice for me, but I went to ABAC at the time, and there was only really 4 schools in Georgia that offered agriculture at that point. And so, for me, that choice was to go down there. But now students have many more choices for agriculture. There's about 6 schools that offer agriculture now, and Emmanuel is one of 4 that offers agriculture education in the state of Georgia. So there is some opportunities for students today to kind of pick their own path, and especially you start looking at going away from home. I have students, especially in the local area, they say, well, I want to get away from home. I want to go to the school away from home. I did that, and I kind of understand what that means. I left Toccoa and went to Tifton, 250 miles away, and so I kind of understand that part. But then I also understand the need to be close to home. And so we do have students from Franklin and Hart and Madison that go to Emmanuel because they have a different goal in life. And their goal is not necessarily to be away from home, but to be able to go to a place where they can get a different experience. So it is, that's what's great about agriculture today. There's just so many opportunities for students, regardless of your path. If you want to go into agriculture after you graduate high school, or after you go to a technical school, or after you go to college, or maybe after you go become a veterinarian or something along those lines. There's just so many things you can do today.
Mm-hmm. That's what I love, FFA and my agriculture class. We do, I love learning about the agriculture even though I don't want to go into agriculture, I want to be a public speaker. I don't know what specifically for. It may be for an industry, or it may be something like just going on stage at conferences or something and talking. That's what I love about my FFA chapter, is that it's not just about the agriculture. It's also about the leadership and the speaking about it that I eat it up. It's amazing. Love it.
Yeah, and you're going to get those skills in agriculture, in FFA, through public speaking, parliamentary procedure, extemporaneous, and all those, even the creed contest. You get those experiences, and those are lifelong skills that you're gaining there, regardless where you go. We had a lot of students that excelled in FFA when I was at Franklin County that did not end up in the agriculture industry. But when you see them, they say, yeah, I did this the other day. That I learned that in FFA, or I learned that in my ag classes. And there's so many skills that you can gain from FFA that are not necessarily about agriculture. Those leadership skills that you can use in any industry that you go into. So I'm glad you're taking advantage of it.
Oh, yeah. FFA, since I got into middle school, when I was in 6th grade, I did not talk to like a single person except like 2 people. Like, I was extremely shy, and I would basically hide in the corner every time and just be quiet. But FFA really like brought me out of my shell, and now I talk very social now. And
now you're doing your own podcast.
Oh yeah,
which is really neat. I think that when we have the opportunity to get out and share, especially our story about agriculture in a positive way, that's very meaningful. Oh, yeah. And the skills you learn from this, you can use in most any industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think people don't understand how important agriculture is at this point. It used to be so big, a couple of decades ago, or can't find my words, but like that. And now more people want to be in these bigger industries, and I feel like not a lot of people understand the importance of agriculture and where their food comes from and how much one farmer can produce. I don't know. It's pretty cool.
I mean, it's very important. 3 times a day, we love agriculture. Breakfast, lunch, and supper. And then, of course, we're wearing clothes because of agriculture. We live under a shelter because of agriculture. But, when you start looking at that, you're talking almost 10 billion people are going to be on our earth by the year 2050. And, somebody's got to feed, clothe, and shelter all those people. And agriculture right now is the number 1 fastest growing employment sector in the world. In the United States, is number 3 behind medical and technology. So when you start looking for jobs, if you're able, you can find a job anywhere in the world in agriculture right now. And in the United States, we don't need that many people. We need people going into production agriculture, but the place where we need people is getting the food and the cotton and the wood from the farm to the consumer. Mm-hmm. And there's a tremendous number of job opportunities in that. Last year we graduated about 35,000 people across the United States with degrees in agriculture, but yet there was 60,000 brand new jobs in agriculture for college graduates. So, we're not even coming close to meeting the needs of the industry. So, in that 60,000 were all new jobs. That doesn't count old people like myself who went home. So, there's so many jobs out there for students in agriculture. And, it's not, you mentioned something about going into communications. It's not necessarily out there feeding cows or growing soybeans. It's about communicating the agriculture story. and somebody who has a little background in agriculture that can share that story with the world, just like your podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I love about agriculture. So, how can someone like me benefit from your program?
I think it's that opportunity to connect with others and to also gain those experiences that we try to provide. Mr. Randall and I have worked hard to try to give students that firsthand experience in just about every kind of field of agriculture they can get, and I think that's the biggest thing that we provide for our students.
Yeah, Emmanuel College sounds like an amazing place, and I hope that this podcast shares with a lot of people about this school. It seems amazing. I love how I love the missionary part of it, because I'm a Christian myself, and I love merging the two. I think it's pretty awesome. So, where is Emmanuel University located, and how can students interested in agriculture program best get information about it?
Emmanuel University is located in Franklin Springs, Georgia. We're on Highway 29, just right off Highway 29. And the best place to get some information is if you'll go to our website, www.ec.edu, and if you go to /AG, you can actually look at our agriculture program, and you can go to ec.edu/AGED, and you can look at the agriculture education program. So it's pretty easy to find that. And then, of course, you can contact myself, Owen Thomason, or Wayne Randall, and we both can share the story of Emmanuel University. And we always welcome students to come visit us. We're open for visits all through the year, and we'd love to have people come see what we're doing and share our story.
Okay. Thank you for being on my podcast. I really enjoyed it. I think this was a really good experience. I learned a lot from it. Hope my audience did too. And thank you for being on.
Thank you, Erin, for inviting me, and thank you for what you're doing. I think this is a great idea.
Thank you.